obviously you want to know the full package of what they're offering, but I mean, when you have a chance to acquire this guy, I mean, if you look at his numbers, they're pretty incredible. I mean, I know this year his batting average is down a little bit, but his on-base percentage is still crazy high. I don't know. I mean, I think you're trying to, especially with 3 years of playoff, even before he gets to free agents, you have him for 3 playoff runs. I think I think this guy's a difference maker. I think he's a guy when you plug him in the middle of the lineup with Goldie and and you can plug him into right field and just kind of. I would, Jim. I mean, I don't know if it's like, I'd like to know if it's Walker and Wynn and Carlson and Libator and how. I would like to know how many and who all is included before I would say definitively one way or the other of what I would do. But I think when you talk about getting a chance to acquire a Hall of Fame player who's 20, or on that trajectory and who's so young, I would do it. He hasn't even hit his prime years yet, and if he even increases, his productivity by 5%, you're talking about, one of the great players of all time. So I would definitely be pushing for something like this to happen, yes.
Matt, take us back to 2009. Did you want to get traded from Oakland? I think I might know the answer to that. But also, I can't remember at the time. Who else was in the sweepstakes? Was it kind of like this, where there were a bunch of teams where you thought you could have went to one team or the other?
Well, the first question was one of your dumber questions, Charlie.
And there's some good ones.
There's some dumb ones in there.
I mean, it's a good race, but no, it was one of those things where I was going to be a free agent, and we were not doing well in Oakland. I think when they traded for me, they thought they were ready to compete, and then we had a bunch of injuries, and some of the young pitchers they were kind of counting on to take that next step weren't quite ready. So we weren't doing well. So I was, excited about getting traded to a pennant race and getting traded to a new team. I don't remember all the teams that were interested. I'd actually be interested to hear from Billy what kind of offers he had from other teams besides the Cardinals. I think that would be interesting. I never really heard. But I did have some insight in knowing some people through the Cardinals organization and having coming off an off season where they tried to acquire me and kind of came down to the wire and Dan O'Dowd ended up taking the package from the A's over the Cardinals. So I did know that they were trying to get me, and so I was excited, and it happened on the 24th, so it even happened a week earlier than maybe even I expected. So it was a good fit, obviously, and it was exciting. I was in New York and got a chance to take a train down to Philadelphia and play that night, and it was a pretty exciting day. It was a pretty one of my more memorable days in the big leagues that day with my family, taking the train and wearing, Todd Wellemeyer's shoes with a pitching toe on it. It was pretty exciting.
And your OPS went up 190 points from Oakland to St. Louis. Was that just change of scenery? Like I'm so happy to be out of fantastic Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
Really, I think I was getting hot. I was starting to swing the bat really well in Oakland. So I think it was more of a timing thing than necessarily that type of deal. I was just, I was really starting to feel myself and starting to hit well. And right about then I got traded and was able to kind of feed off of the new energy and the new excitement and got hot. And then I was just having a blast. So, I think anytime you get that extra bit of, adrenaline, emotion, of being in a playoff race, it always helps, especially when you get into, July, August, where it's really hot and not in Oakland, but where it's hot most places. And you get that extra push, of excitement about baseball. And so it was probably a combination of a few things.
Yeah. Let the record show that you used to say the number one thing that got you going was the positive energy from appearing on the pregame show, but that's for another day. So when you do
we'll talk about that some other time.
when you do go to a new team and there's so much hype surrounding it, how do you deal with the pressure? Like, you came and did well, but other guys go to new teams, especially guys that sign these huge contracts, and then don't necessarily get off to good starts. There's got to be a lot of pressure that goes with that.
Yeah, I think the one thing that was effective for me, and even in 2010, after I signed the contract with the Cardinals, I got off to a bit of a rough start and was putting a lot of pressure on myself and felt a little bit of the sort of the heaviness of signing a long-term deal. And but I think you just go back to kind of keeping it simple and trying to remember that it's just a game and you're playing a game. It's supposed to be fun. Enjoy the work. Keep your circle small. Don't read the papers. Don't read Twitter. Don't read, all the things nowadays that are sort of this place where you can go and get sidetracked, or you can start reading about people's opinions. And, Twitter's a dark place if you want to go down that hole. So I think that the guys, if you can just keep it super simple and go and be a good teammate and work your butt off, and then go home and be a good dad and be a good husband and really just kind of keep your priorities and your circle small. That's really the most fun, best place to be, especially when you're a guy that people are heavily counting on, or maybe you're making a lot of money. And so that I think that's the most effective way, Jim. I think sometimes if you start to read your press clippings, whether they're good or bad, or that's when guys, they sort of lose that laser focus or lose sight of what they're trying to do.
Matt, how was the trip to Camden Yards with Jackson and the family?
Ooh,
it was great. We had a good time. He did the physical, which was an all-day affair, and then we had Tuesday to kind of explore the harbor downtown. And then Wednesday was the sort of the big media day and the batting practice and the game. And it was good. It was a good time. Really happy for him. I'm excited. It was not as easy to let him fly to Sarasota as we were flying back to Oklahoma. His mom did not handle all that well. and he's such a good kid and a good big part of our family and a good big brother. And once the younger brothers started to tear up, Mom lost it a little bit, and then so it was a good couple days. We're gonna go see him in a couple days and just kind of watch him do his thing a little bit. But it was really cool to see, and they really embraced him and they treated us really well. So I'm excited to watch his career and look forward to going down and seeing him play a little bit.
Did big tough Matt Holliday weep even just a little bit?
Uh-oh.
I might have had a tear or two. I mean, as you know, it's really cool. I think when your kids get to that age, they kind of go from almost like that they're childlike to becoming more like your best friend. And so Jackson and I are really close, and so I guess you're going to see him. He's going to be home in the off season. I guess it's just more the kind of chapter closing on adolescence, being in your house, and he's turning into sort of going into the next step. So I think that part of it is a little bit sad, but at the same time, I'm really excited to kind of be part of his next adventure. And I think there may have been a tear or two.
I remember seeing that with
should be.
With that home run. Remember the home run he hit?
Oh, yeah, you remember that.
I don't even know how you could. No, I think because I pictured it. He had tears in his eyes.
Oh, man.
I don't know how he could have seen the pitch, and he hits it out. Like, that's honestly one of my favorite moments covering the Cardinals, because he was here for a good stretch, good dude, and then it's like his farewell, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he can't. I don't know how you saw the ball.
I wiped him away, Jim.
So here's my last question, and I know you've covered this before, but you love your kid. You've worked with your kid. You've seen the work that he put in. He doesn't get to be a number one pick by accident and just on talent and genetics. Like, he's worked. I know that everyone that had been around the Cardinals saw how much he loved the game. What's that feeling like when you find out for the first time that, yes, he's going number one as a dad? What's that feeling like right there?
Well, I think the one thing is as you're trying to help make a decision. I mean, ultimately, he looks at me and says, "Dad, I don't know," and so I'm making sort of this big life decision, and so I think first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're making a good decision on behalf of your son for a good chunk of his life, and so I think at sort of the 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after that happens, it's a little bit scrambled and a little bit, anxious of making sure that, you're doing the right thing by your kid. But I think, like 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, when you have that moment of just, sort of him and you, I'm just really proud of him as far as, like I said, his dream ever since he was old enough to have dreams was to get drafted and play pro baseball, and he wanted to be a first rounder, and then that goal changed to a top 5 pick, and then he became this big Bobby Witt fan in high school because Bobby Witt was playing in Texas and they were playing a game in Oklahoma. He went and saw him, and so then he wanted to get drafted like Bobby Witt in the top. I think Bobby Witt got drafted 3rd, and then so he had these goals all along, and to get a chance to watch him and experience that was pretty cool. So it's like I said, it's you go through a lot of different emotions about whether you help make the right decision, and then all this excitement and happy and proud of him, and so it was quite an experience.
Well, we were all crying too, Maddie, just so you know. And I think Jimmy's crying right now just talking to you because he missed you so much.
I miss you, man.
And we all miss you, buddy.
Even though every once in a while there's a hurtful text sent
we
my
didn't
way.
miss Jimmy, but we missed you.
I mean, I was here. I've been here, Jimmy. So, you've been on vacation from the show for like 3 weeks. I've been here loyally and faithfully at 9:30 on Monday morning when you've been gone even. So, and I even went to St. Louis to see you, and you were gone. So
I know, that was bad.
Yeah. So I did a great interview with the girl that does the job when you're not there.
Alexa.
She's pretty good, isn't she? She is. She asks great questions and everything.
Well, I missed you. I miss you now, and hopefully our paths will cross soon, and I'll give you a big hug.
You're probably taking Hall of Fame weekend off, I would assume.
No, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there for that one.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll see you.
Yeah. Oh, he'll find you.
Oh.
He'll find you.
Okay. All right.
All right, Maddie. Go do your thing, man. We'll talk next week.
Okay. All right. I'll be here, Jim, unlike you probably.
And plus, I'll be glad to introduce you. I'll give a real tearjerker of a speech, of an intro, if you want.
Okay. I'll take it.
All right. See you, big boy.
See
right
ya.
on, Maddie. See you, buddy. Maddie Holliday, everybody. Maddie
He's the
Holliday.
best.
The best of the best. It is what it is. People are asking me to ask him what he thinks of Derek Jeter and stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care.
No one cares.
I do feel bad that he was back in St. Louis, and that was the weekend that I went to the shore, but I can only
What do you do?
But we keep in touch via text a little bit, and every once in a while there'll be something hurtful.
Well, he answered our
something-
calls when we called him. That's all I know.
He is a good dude. And I will say that I do credit his success, especially in the early going, with the guidance he got coming on the pregame show.
Of course.
Back then it was Fox Sports.
For sure.
Yeah.
Matt, the last home run you hit at Busch was a top 10 Cardinal moment. Just know the Cards Nation loves and appreciates everything you did for the last 8 years.
Cam, you never saw that, or go look at the video.
I'm going to.
It's unbelievable. Like being there, like the emotion, like he was beloved, and then you can feel it, and you look at him at the plate, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he still goes deep, right? I mean, I never saw that coming.
Yeah, I see him. He's playing it right now. Oh, yeah.
That was his last at bat, but then didn't he play the next day and get a hit also?
Yeah, somebody
That was
chimed
his
in.
last at bat, and then they let him jump. He got a base hit, and then on the last game of the season, he went out just for one more, and he went out just to play outfield, I think.
Yeah, Splashback chimes in and goes, that teary-eyed homer was not his last at-bat.
No.
People just remembered incorrectly.
That was his last home run.
The Jeter question was the best. Kurt Warner, I'm not asking about Jeter. He's not going to dig up anything about him. Even if he didn't like him, he's not going to say it.
Let me tell you this.
He's not going to say it.
That man did not like playing in Oakland.
I know.
He did not like
How
playing in
can
Oakland.
you play? Why
and
would
then
you?
afterwards, remember, we got to ask him about this. I think that after the fact, he had some type of no trade where Oakland was like the only team on it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, it's
something
dumb.
like that.
I mean, why would you want to play there? They're cheap.
Come on, man. Oakland, the Bash Brothers.
They're cheap. Cheap ownership. Bad
You ever been to
stadium.
that ballpark?
I have not.
It is a pit.
It's a pit. Jim,
And
there's
the one
seats-
year, one year, the Cardinals went after they had a sewage leak into the visitors' clubhouse, and that was gross. And you could see the remnants of the cleaners they had used to try to. Who knows if they got everything out? And then the other thing, which is bizarre, I don't know if they fixed this since. It's been a few years, but they have this real thin hallway by the visiting players' locker room, and this area where it's for like high rollers or people that get special tickets that includes booze, and there's no like separation. They put a piece of tape down the middle, and they go, and there's a sign that says, "Please don't bother the players." Can you imagine that? Drunken fan walking right next to visiting player going out on the field?
It's a joke.
Matt Holliday's contract with the Yankees allowed him to block trades to one team, the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, man. They showed some of the. There's this guy on YouTube that goes to every single ballpark and they rank them. You know, we talked about that last week. And they went to Oakland and he's showing everybody these seats that they still sell, but like if you look to the right, it's just like a big block. And the only thing you could see in these particular seats is like 1/4 of the outfield. It's the dumbest thing ever. Dumb. Why would you want to go there? Good Lord.
Sometimes when I'm in the camera well, supposedly keeping an eye on the game, there's 7 photographers in front of me. If I don't have a monitor, which I do, I'm not watching the game live because I have no vantage point. I got to watch it on the monitor.